All right, Grand Rising to you beautiful people, man. Thanks so much for joining us here today. New Black Wall Street Book Club has returned to continue in our literature journey. That's right, man. Readers are leaders. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises and the Black Bazaar. Here on this show, we feature Black authors. So if you are a Black author, you know Black authors looking for some exposure, make sure you let them know that what we're doing over here to bring their book to life. I will say our focus is on finance, business, motivation, and personal development. So if their book is written in that genre, then we love to find out more about it and also do what we can to help them get more sales at the end of the day. We'll be continuing our journey today. This will be our last installment of this book. Again, I don't read the whole book. I try to read some of it so you get a clue of what it is. And this book written by two brothers, the Day brothers, called The Immortals, Tales of the Immortals Origins. This is a comic book series similar to X-Men series, similar to Black Panther in a sense as well. And we're going to be covering, yesterday we had some technical difficulties, by the way. We looked at Queen Amaroka. So unfortunately, we got the blue screen to death and went out. But we're back today. And we're covering a character called Golo Kua, the Giant. Golo Kua, the Giant. That's what we'll be covering here today. Tales of the Immortals Origins. Again, go ahead and hit that like button and share button if you care. Like button and share button if you care. Tag a Black author as well. Tag an author that you might know. They may be interested in partnering with us to bring more light to their literature. That's right, man. Black folk do read. You put in the book, and we absolutely will find it. You know what time it is, Mr. DJ. Hit the music.
New Black Wall Street Book Club. Evan Jefferson, brother, much love. Educating, elevating, because in knowledge is the power, and we'll never give it up. Literature's for the masses. Where to put your money down, now how to watch your assets. Yeah, uplifting others is a passion. My brother Evan, he will turn it into action. New Black Wall Street Book Club. You should come read with us. Yeah, we comprehend and discuss. Yeah, we all just come together. There's no limit for us. Here comes your host, New Black Wall Street. Evan, take it away. New Black Wall Street Book Club. New Black Wall Street Book Club.
That's right, man. We all come together. There's no limit to us. I am very passionate about Black authorship because I am an author myself. I've been through the process. I know what it takes to bring your idea, your idea to light. I know that process of publishing and all that stuff as well. I've had a successful campaign myself. And so I just look to, I don't know, maybe be a mentor, inspiration. I don't know, all that good stuff. You can find my book by simply going to the website, theblackbillionairesclub.com, theblackbillionairesclub.com to pick up a copy of The Story of Wealth, our Black billionaires of today. That's my book. But today we're going to be featuring Tales of the Immortals Origin. This is from a company called Swords and Scales. And you can find the book by simply going to the website, www.swordsandscales.com, www.swordsandscales.com, covering today a character called Golo Kua, the Giant. Now, this book, has I think 7 or 8 short stories, which gives you the origins of these particular characters, and they display these things called virtues. And so as we read about Golo Kua, we'll be able to determine which virtues he encapsulates. And those virtues are truth, justice, wisdom, strength. He's a giant. I think strength might be in there. Courage, faith, and knowledge. Let me say that again. Truth, justice, wisdom, strength, courage, faith, and knowledge. All right. Those are the 7 virtues that are encapsulated within these short stories and are represented by these particular characters. What's going on with you, Miss Vivian Reed over YouTube? Thanks so much for joining us here today. Miss Tori Hicks, what's up? Queen sister in the house. Thanks so much for joining us here today. New Black Wall Street Book Club, Queen Yvette. My support staff is always here. Thanks so much as well for joining us here today. New Black Wall Street Book Club. Well, you know what time it is, beautiful people. New Black Wall Street Book Club. Let's read. Golo Kua, the Giant. Again, this is the picture here. Origins that we're reading here. Tales of the Immortals. Let's get it. Modern man looks to the skies and contemplates the unexplored vastness and unfathomable mysteries of space. Yet the ancients pondered the depths of the earth and the seas upon which they sailed. Many strange and fantastical tales have been handed down about realms and regions that exist below the surface of land and water, and also about the extraordinary beings that inhabit these mythical realms. It is from beyond the oldest legends of yore and beneath the deepest chasms within the earth that the story of Golo Kua the giant begins. The fifth realm, as it exists now, is a beautiful landscape of rolling green hills and forests, rugged snow-capped mountain ranges and picturesque plains where numerous human civilizations exist in simple harmony with their surroundings. But the most distinctive feature of the fifth realm is also the keeper of its most shrouded secrets. At the southernmost tip of the Silver Peaks range lies Terra Moros, the sleeping titan. Its pitch black color stands in stark contrast to the surrounding pale mountains and commonly blue skies. It rises from its base, which appears to be wedged between the valley and the sea, and reaches taller than any other mountain in the land. The top of it is bowed out like a crater, which gives testament to previous eruptions. The last such explosion was witnessed and recorded by man. It was described as a thunderous blast which cast smoke into the sky, blocking out the sun for 10 days. Molten rock and lava spewed from its mouth and ran down its sides, filling the valley region below, eventually cooling and hardening. But this was not the first time that the volcanic Terra Moros had erupted. In fact, beyond the diverse landscape existed, there was only the sea. A deep blue ocean had existed from prehistoric time. That is, until far below at the bottom of the abyss, a fissure appeared in the sea floor. Steam bubbled violently to the surface as hot molten rock came into contact with the waters of the ocean. Large explosions and eruptions caused cataclysmic changes. The semi-solid ocean floor heaved upwards as lava extruded continuously from the subterranean crack, until eventually the hardened rock emerged from the waters, forming at first an island, with Terra Moros at the center. But this eruption on the sea bottom was not a natural occurrence from gradual geological shifts. No, there was an acutely intelligent cause behind these primordial effects. We shift now the focus of this origin tale to accounts from men of the terrible first beings in the realm. The oldest known stories tell of giants that had existed long before man. And indeed, there were in fact 3 different races of giants that had lived. The first and oldest race were the Ogbuganja, and they were also the largest. These macro-sentient beings were closer to the element order than any other type of being. They controlled many of the Earth's activities, such as earthquakes and lightning storms. Their numbers were few, but because of their titanic size, and they took little consideration of the affairs of lesser beings. After the second great expansion, most of them went into hibernation deep within the earth and the ocean. It is reported by many amazed that these titans still sleep, and when they awaken, it will bring about the destruction of the present world. The second race of giants were much smaller than their predecessors. They were called the Neptushim, and they lived entirely in the ocean. Later stories of oceanic gods and goddesses were attributed to this race of beings, who were more human-like in their pursuits of dominion over the seas and the riches within. Yet their fierceness and acclamation of the depths of the abyss made them more like Titan grandparents. The Neptushim marshaled the creatures of the sea and even battled the giant squid and leviathan for supremacy over the waters. After many aeons and countless cycles of heavenly event caused a multitude of the meteorites to shower down from space and plunge into the oceans. These meteorites brought with them an alien invasion of microbes that caused the native sea floor to drastically decline, setting off a chain of devastating ecological events. The Neptushim were forced to seek refuge into even deeper chasms of the abyss for survival, and all but disappeared from the warm, salty seas of the fifth realm. For the story of how the last race of giants came to this realm, we now return to Terra Moros and the fire that started under the sea. Modern scientists that claim to know the breadth and depth of this world either do so out of vanity, willful deception, or limited perception. For most have been taught that the way to enter this world from another planet or star system is by way of the skies. Yet it was the Meccans, the third race of giants, who with superior technology and wisdom breached the ocean floor from another realm, bringing with them the knowledge of the inner dimensions. The rift in the seabed that eventually formed into the megalith known as Terra Moros was created by missile-like weapons deployed by the Meccans. These smart bombs burrowed and tunneled through the interior of the planet, creating passageways for the Meccans explorers to enter through in their magma pods. These magma pods could withstand the extreme temperatures and pressure of the inner Earth. The first of the Meccans to arrive in the fifth realm were sent to begin a new colony, for their origins were of a distant star system. Let us at this point remind the reader that it will be necessary to conceive of the fact that which appears to be an extreme external distance is but a reflection of an internal reality. So with them, they brought the knowledge of myriads of diverse and vast dimensions within the Earth. Some of these worlds even having their own luminary bodies, distinct cycles, and life forms very different and bizarre when compared to the beings on the surface. The Meccans were physically smaller than the two previous race of giants, reaching heights of only 10 to 20 feet. They were an air-breathing people, unlike the Nephtushim, but shared in the violent and fierce nature of all the giant species. Their proclivity was for domination, and even their game resembled war and often resulted in destruction of life. Even still, the scientists among them were unparalleled in their knowledge of the elements and the construction of seemingly timeless architectural structures. Though their surface monuments were scarce, humankind was able to pierce the secrets of their design. These monuments stood as testaments to a time when a superior race ruled. The Meccans' lifespans were so vast that they were esteemed as immortal in comparison to other beings. Societies of man who came into contact with the Meccans lived in fear and subjugation. The Meccans were ruthless and self-serving in their pursuits. Their religion was power and strength, yet they at once acknowledged the supreme source of the universe as presiding within and overall. The Meccans simply assumed their role as the apex race within the context. Their skin colors varied from shades of deep mahogany to red to bluish gray. They drew differences along the lines of phenotype and warred against each other as clans often do. I'm gonna let you guys take a look here at this illustration of the Meccans, maybe of the giant that we're looking at here today. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What's going on, beautiful people? Ray, Brother Ray is in the house, man. Good morning to you. Queen Jennifer is in the house. Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us here today. Golo Kua was born as the heir prince to the throne of the royal family of Kua Khan, his father. Rulership was passed from father to son. The Meccan women held strict control over mate selection and reproduction rights. The Meccan mothers also possessed the wisdom of the inner earth star portals, which were jealously regarded secrets. So between the two, male and female, a balance of power existed that was rarely violated. It was only between the clans that frequent and devastating quarrels persisted. By the time Golo Kua was born, the Meccans had pitched themselves into a seemingly inevitable self-destructive civil war between the two most prominent clans. The House of Kua had maintained the royal seal and right to rule for millennia. It was their ancestors who had masterminded the expansion and colonization of the surface world. They were bullish gray in color and deemed themselves superior to all other Meccans. But the Dagatar, who were reddish in color, were the muscle and working drive behind all the Kua innovations. And they had grown tired of the House of Kua's hegemony. Ooh, Lord. Hegemony. I don't know this word. Hegemony. Over all the inner world domains. The Meccans hosted an Olympic-style game tournament every 500 years. The competitors represented each their own clan. The winners in the sport competition not only won prestige for themselves, but also, according to Meccan law and custom, the winners secured political power for the coming time cycle. The Dagatar, who were much more severe in physical prowess than the other clans, had won a majority share of games during the last tournament. But the Kua, who were wily in terms of law and management, saw fit to disqualify several Dagatar for minor sporting infractions. The Kua maintained a majority rule, and the Dagatar were infuriated, feeling cheated out of what they had rightfully earned. The leader of the Dagatar, Tiger Brute, declared the Kua family to be illegitimate rulers and withdrew his clan from all common Meccan affairs. The withdrawal of the Dagatar from commercial enterprise caused the Meccan economy to falter, and the proud Kua thought to exert their authority and bring the rebellious Dagatar to stand accountable for the decline in Macan prosperity. When an envoy of Kua representatives were sent to exact tribute from the Dagatar, were attacked, the entire Macan dominions were thrust into unrest and bloody battles between the two clans. By the time Golo Kua had reached an adolescent age, the entire inner realm was in chaos from the Macan wars. The surface world suffered through an age of cataclysmic earthquakes, typhoons, and climatic changes that were all caused by the destructive activities of the Macans deep within the subterranean realms of the earth. Fearing the demise of the Kua royal lineage, Golo Kua's father, Kua Khan, and his mother, Lishi Ku, made the difficult decision to exile Golo to a remote ore smelting fortress near the surface. The fortress was abandoned years ago during the decline of the Macan expansion and would be the perfect hiding place for the heir to be. The fortress was also below the mountain range where Terramar silently stood, and against his wishes, Golo Kua was locked into a magma pod and blasted through the subterranean tunnels to the smelting fortress. An explosive blast covered the tunnel way with boulders and rock to prevent any of the Dagatar warriors from seeking after Golo, the last remaining heir to the Kua throne. Inside the magma pod canisters containing a cryo vapor, his released their contents into the pod, where a young Macan prince lamented in anguish over the abrupt separation from his entire family, clan, and race. He would finish the journey through the subterranean tunnel system in a deep sleep. Foreseeing that this day would come, Kua Khan equipped the magma escape pod with volumes of laser-inscribed marble tablets that contain records of Macan genealogy and history, science, engineering, war strategy, and astrology. Golo Kua would have to finish his education by self-learning from the wisdom of his people via the stone tablets. The surface-dwelling villages of men gathered together the wise men and women amongst themselves at the site of a great omen. The Titan, Terramoras, who had been lying asleep for as long as the scribes and griots could recall, was now smoldering with smoke. Fear and panic spread throughout their villages as many evacuated their homes in fear of great volcanic explosion. But there was not to be any great eruption of the volcano. The wisest men of the surface could not have known that the smoke rising from Terramoss was a result of Macan design. Once the magma pod carrying the sleeping giant Golo had entered into the underground fortress, this set off a chain of mechanical events that activated the great and wondrous smelting factory within the deep and hidden chambers of the mountain volcano. Enormous chains impervious to the high heat of the molten lava began to move, some up and some down. Lakes of lava drained into fathomless chasms that opened at the bottom of the fortress to reveal statues, laboratories, and living quarters. Great halls where ancient knowledge was inscribed on the walls were open. Architectural designs of otherworldly craft and machines became illuminated with neon gases as if the builders of the old had returned to finish their great work. It would be a whole galactic turn before Golo Kua was awakened from his cryo coma. But when he did awake, he would find a fortress alive with astonishing knowledge awaiting his curiosity. Time and cycles passed by. Stories of races of giants and myths of the origins of the great volcano Terramoras were rarely told by men, as those were dim memories among the wise. Nature, as it always does, recycles the ashes of the past into fertilizer for new growth. The mountain ranges of the fifth realm whispered her secrets to the misty clouds surrounding the peaks. But to the ears far below in the valleys, there were no signs of the activity that was quietly taking place beneath the surface. Golo Kua, now a young man by Macan's measures, was diligent about the business of studying the knowledge left to him by his forefathers and foremothers. The marble tablets were released from their compartments by a seeming successive order, as if one tablet became available to study only after the prerequisite tablet was absorbed and learned. Golo Kua found inside of his magma pod ship keys that unlocked great hidden chambers within the underground fortress, within each with its own lessons and rewards. In one vaulted chamber, there were colossal statues of Macan warriors in fighting poses lining the hallway. As Golo Kua walked the stone floor towards the other side, the statues became alive, though in actuality triggered like a trap. Giant stone hatchets, hammers, and fists slammed to the ground, and Golo dove and rolled to avoid being crushed to death by the statue's attacks. Having survived the ordeal and reaching the other side, he was faced with a large stone pedestal that rose out of the floor. 3 formidable weapons were propped on stands before him: a long club, a 3-pronged spear, and a spiked mace hammer. Golo Kua studied the weapons and then reached his hand for the mace hammer. Once he retrieved it into hand, the other two weapons descended back under the floor where they were once hidden. Golo's lips curled into a wry smile as he fancied his new signature weapon, the marble mace. His training continued for many years as he grew wiser and stronger through the various trials and lessons within the forest. Upon releasing and reading the final tablet inside the magma pod, Golo had figured he had completed all of the learning that was available to him. Then suddenly, a secret drawer within the pod opened, and two black obsidian tablets with inscribed gold glyphs were revealed. Golo took the first one slowly into his hands. It contained maps of the subterranean world beyond the fortress tunnel, and also appeared to be a map of the cosmos beyond the atmosphere of the surface realm. The second black tablet was an architectural schematic for activation of the Volcano Gate. The Volcano Gate, as Golo would learn, was the gateway in and out of what had become the fortress, his fortress prison, into the inner earth tunnel portals. There was also a description of the gate being configured to open unto the celestial portals. Golo Kua had long suffered from the loneliness of the underground fortress. This unnatural isolation fed his anger and rage. The stories of the wars and deeds of the various Macan tribes propelled Golo Kua's desire to find the lost tribes in the Macan wars and take his place as the rightful heir to the Macan dominions. He had once set out to decipher the tablet's instructions at a fervent pace. The directions to open the Volcano Gate to the tunnel by which he had entered the fortress long ago was fairly simple to master and subsequently open. The entire cave shook with thunderous reverberations as a huge stone slab of a door began to lift up. A river of molten magma poured into the opening of the door as it continued to open. From Golo Kua's seat inside of the magma ship, he could see nothing but darkness ahead of him as he stared into the unknown of the tunnel. He had very little memory of his previous life as a youth among his people and family. The cryocoma had made those memories foggy, as he had found it hard to distinguish between true memory and imagination. Now a new destiny and adventure had flung wide open before him as the lava stream hissed and generated large plumes of steam inside the tunnel. The explorations of Prince Golo Kua into the subterranean tunnels and hidden worlds are numerous and tell many harrowing adventures. These stories will have to be retold in separate volumes as our origin story of the giants draw nigh to summation. They are too fantastic to neglect. We shall advise the reader who loves a great tale. The second black tablet contained very specific instructions and procedures for the successful launch of the magma pod into the celestial seas above the surface atmosphere. There were items and materials that had to be obtained from outside of the fortress in order to complete the reconstruction of the cosmic gate. Now I'll show you guys another picture here, illustration. Looks like, I guess that's the surface realm, something like that. Pretty cool. By now, Golo was a tested and true Macan warrior, worthy of his mantle as royal heir through his many ordeals in the inner realms. With every aspect of the Volcano Gate completed, commissioned, and tested, he was now ready to search the heavens for the star origins of his people in hopes to reunite them again. Oh, but how the universe weaves the destinies of the great and the small together for the unexpected to casually occur. Among the surface tribes of men, there were two people, a boy and a girl, that had found interest in exploring the mountain valleys beyond the gates of their village's abode. Imagining themselves as famous explorers in search of hidden treasure, they could not have known how self-fulfilling they were to become. Deep within the valley gorge, the boy had slipped down the edge of a high ravine wall. What he saw before him frightened him as he stared at a hidden entrance to an underground edifice. Stone pylons that stood at least several hundred feet supported the ceiling of the mountain cave. A dark, dank wind eerily blew a chill into his bones as he upped and scrambled back to the ledge above where his female counterpart watched. The two adolescents ran back to the village to tell the strong men of their village their new discovery. Needless to say, their account was met with a combination of disbelief, fear, and curiosity. An exploration party of soldiers and brave men ventured along the path led by the two young people who had discovered the entrance to the giant fortress. Deep within the fortress, Golo Kua sat in the cockpit of the magma pod, now tilted towards the sky. A sequence of pre-launch action initiated, and the lava began to heave tumultuously. The outside panels of the magma pod became white hot as the entire inner chamber began to swell with tremendous energy. And then the entire hollow exploded, hurtling the magma pod upward. It blasted through the bottom of the great crater with terra moras and expelled large plumes of dust and black smoke into the atmosphere. The human party was just making its descent into the valley when The ravine that the boys slid into was only several yards ahead. When they all ducked and cowered at the thunderous sound of a great explosion, a few pointed skyward at the sight of a glinting metallic object that appeared as a craft jettisoned into the skies. Golo Kua had successfully launched the magma pod into the heavens, and soon beyond the glow of Earth, gases that formed the atmosphere. Guided by ancient stone maps, he set his coordinates based on stellar configurations. He was to enter into a galactic stream that would project him into the other side of the cosmos by way of a stargate. But alas, there was a cosmic storm that separated him from the stargate and made his passage impossible. Disappointed yet hopeful of a future return attempt, Golo Kua guided his craft back towards the Earth planet and his mountain fortress. Though his galactic journey be told in the space of a few paragraphs, the time that had actually elapsed was long enough for humans to regroup their numbers and invade the recesses of the underground fortress. Fueled by the legends of the giants and their oppression of mankind, the humans sought to destroy the Volcano Gate, making it impossible for the giant to return to the Earth. Upon learning what the humans had wrought, Golo Kua flew into a frenzy, having exiled once again from all that was familiar. Using mechanical technology, he rained meteorites down upon the villages of man, burning them in his vengeance. Still unable to return, he wandered the nearby heavens for both more clues and also to pirate whatever beings he encountered of lesser strength for supplies and sport. Most of the hosts of the beings in the near galaxy were inferior in strength to the mighty Makans. In one escapade, he chanced upon an isolated, lifeless moon. An alien structure upon the surface called out to his curiosity. Now partly maddened from space fever, he descended upon the moon base and entered with no less than the fury of a god going crazy. The alien beings were formidable, but stood no chance against the strength and wrath of Golo Kua. Having disposed of the loathsome creatures, Golo Kua happened upon a cell which was holding a human man prisoner. The man looked into Golo Kua's eyes, and the strength of his spirit was able to calm the giant. How could a chance invasion of a distant prison moon result in the rescue of one of the most important men in the entire universe? The scales of destiny tremble at the coming of the giant Golo Kua. For his role in helping to fulfill the prophecy of peace is an ultimate lesson in balance and redemption. And here is a picture of him, looks like in his magma pod, right here, Golo Kua the giant. And that is the origin of this particular giant. Looks like getting into a role of helping fulfill the prophecy of peace as he is searching for his origins. And he is on the Earth realm, or on Earth, as I guess you could say, as a foreigner, in a sense, a foreign god. And of course, this is the Immortals. So this is an immortal giant that we are speaking of. So this book here, guys, is called Tales of the Immortals. Again, a comic book, hardback cover. And you see that some of the characters on the front, should be 7 or 8 of them, something like that. Short stories that goes into how they came to be immortal as they are. Let me share with you guys the characters. Again, you can find this book by simply going to Swords and Scales. The website is www.swordsandscales.com. We went over Baba Gul, the maid, Seraphim, Aki Zurai, the hunter. We briefly covered Queen Amaroko. We just went over Golo Kua, the giant. There's a Nanak, a prophet, an Aniel and Ayael, the faith twins. We have a Lu Uma, the shaman, as well. And 102. There's another page here that looks like it has profile pages. Oh, okay. So we have Seraphim and Baba Gua. Oh, this is pretty cool. I didn't see this. We have the hunter and the queen. We have the giant and the prophet, all black characters. We have the faith twins. Oh, I know y'all probably be interested in reading about the faith twins, huh? And that looks like that's it. Cool. So next week, guys, this day is Friday. Next week, I haven't figured out. I'll determine what we'll start reading next week. I think I'm waiting on a book. I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna look and find out what we're gonna start reading next week. I'll probably make that announcement tomorrow or maybe later on today. But again, shout out to the Day Brothers for their work, Tales of the Immortals, Origins from Swords and Scales, their company. And again, the website, www.swordsandscales.com, www.swordsandscales.com. If you are an author, you know an author that has written something in the space of business, finance, business, development, or motivation, we love to feature their book here on our broadcast as we feature Black authors who are making a contribution to make a difference in our world here on the New Black Wall Street Book Club, where Black folk do read. You put in a book, we absolutely will find it. I'm your host, ERGJ, certified financial educator. I want you guys to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, we all we need. And thank God that's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
New black. It's the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Wall Street. With your host, Evan Jefferson. It's time for us to go. Yeah. Now, you ain't got to leave the computer, but we encourage you to get out there and learn and apply all the things you learn at the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Yeah. The New Black Wall Street. The New Black Wall Street Book Club.
Have a great weekend, beautiful.